What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the land of RLogicc. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack that notification bell so do not miss any more posts from me. So with all that said, let's get straight into this video. What is going on, everybody? Let's go on. Let me make sure I get all my banners and stuff going on. Please make sure you guys thumbs up. It really does help out with YouTube's algorithm. So as you guys can already tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about Miss Jaguar Wright, and I'm also going to be talking about Miss Tasha K and the Larry Reid situation. And we're really going to talk about some things that I feel like a lot of people aren't really speaking of or really paying attention to. But before I do all of that, I do want to run my fair use and explicit content disclaimer, because I know for a fact 9 times out of 10 I will be cursed. So let's get straight into it, y'all. Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allows is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, always constructive, comment down below, news reporting, I guess that's what we doing, teaching, hopefully y'all learn something, scholarship, we ain't got no money, education and research so you can get a nasty piece of degree, okay? Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Hey, as you guys already know, I already got a special guest. Hey, what's going on, Conscious? Introduce yourself.
Hi, of course it is Consciouztv for the logicians who do not know who I am. I love saying that word. I'm just sorry. Anya, who is it? Lady Royal?
Yeah, it was Lady Royale.
Wait, that is I'm jealous. I am jealous of the logicians, girl. That is just epic. But yes, it's Consciouztv. Please follow me on YouTube and on Instagram. Happy to be here. And I'm excited to get into some things. And your haircut looks nice, my nigga. You look so handsome, Reckless.
Thank you. You know, it's been a little minute since normally I have my turban on. It's like it's been like second nature.
Okay, where do you get your turbans from? Because when you're on my platform, people always ask, where do you get your turbans from? They love your what's going on?
Don't Sean that late. Come on, Sean. What's going on? But you know, Sean don't miss a beat, no shade. I most definitely be in the bushes of your stuff, but I be like on Conscious panel too, so I be at both places all at once. Hey, how's everybody going? Like, how's everybody doing? This is gonna be. Y'all already know we gonna act the fool over here. You already know. I've already made an executive decision when it comes to my monetization. I'm not really worried about the ads. Reason being is because I know I'm gonna be cussing the fool. So I kind of worry about my monetization going through contributions and donations. So that's how, because I've tried the whole thing with no cussing. It's not really working out. But as everybody can already tell, we're gonna be talking Miss Jaguar Wright. Girl, let me do this real quick. Talk to the people real quick while I get myself together.
I want you guys already know what to do, girl. Okay, now y'all know that record's probably gonna be on fire, child, because he was hotter than a witch's coochie, girl, when we got into that second leg of the combo, girl. So I don't know how much premium heat he got still up in, girl, but I gotta feel it. Okay.
Yeah, you already know. Okay, so we're gonna get into Miss Jaguar Wright. Yes, come on, Stan. I was just looking for you. Look, amen. Look at God, praise him. All right, so y'all, so we're gonna get into Miss Jaguar Wright. So as everybody knows, and if for those who are not aware, Jaguar Wright was hospitalized or arrested. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was she hospitalized?
Yes, she was put into a 5150, basically.
Okay, because I saw like both narratives going around, so I wasn't really sure 100% what was what. Okay, so Jaguar Wright essentially got into a fight with her husband. It was on IG Live. She went up to the barbershop. Her husband was at the barbershop. Her and another person by the name of Solar went to the barbershop, attacked the husband, went to go fight the husband. It was on IG Live. She had her deceased son's ashes, and she took some of the ashes, was throwing it all over the place, all over the husband. And I also want to say other people at the barbershop, cursing them out, doing the absolute most. And she ended up going back into the car and she put some of the ashes and rubbed it on her face, saying they're all gonna perish, they're all gonna perish. And she was like on 25, and I need her to drop that down to like a 2. Now apparently there was a weapon present at the time. Was it? It was a weapon present. Now here's the thing. On one end, I heard that the husband had the weapon and tried to hurt her, but then I also heard vice versa, as in it was her having the weapon, or she was given the weapon and she was trying to hurt him. I don't know, but what I do know for a fact is that the weapon was present. What are your thoughts, Conscious, before I go on my little rant? Because girl, you already know.
Hold on, so situation. You heard that a weapon was found at the scene of the arrest?
No. Okay, so what I heard was, okay, and this is the reason why I'm saying I'm very clear on I heard, because I wasn't really sure if this was. So what to my understanding, I could be wrong. Y'all correct me if I'm comments if I'm wrong. To my understanding, I heard that the husband allegedly had his weapon on him, and he handed it to her or something like that, or was something like the weapon was faced towards him, but he handed it to her. It was something like that. I don't really know. And that's the reason why I want to put it out there. Maybe someone can come and clear it up, because I was hearing a whole bunch of different narratives going on, and I was trying to figure out what was what. We couldn't really find it out. So yeah, that's what I heard. And then so I do remember her being hospitalized, and now we're here. Now we're here. I know the son spoke out. He had an interview and he spoke out about the situation, about his mom and his dad. And now we're here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, so there was an incident about a gun either the night before the arrest or a few nights before the arrest. And there was conflicting reports, because Jack was saying that the husband was the aggressor in the situation and weaponized the gun. But then the husband spoke out on Sweet Mouth for Life in a few interviews and said that was a lie, that Jack is the one who picked up the gun and threatened to shoot him and said, "I'll shoot your da-da-da-da-da." Okay. And then, Solar from Cardboard Nation had went live. And, whether he was telling the truth is, I don't know, because, of course, obviously he's Team Jack. So whether he's, whatever, but he also corroborated Jack's side of events. So the husband commenced to cussing him clean out too. So I don't know what happened, but
y'all can get it.
Right, but apparently the authorities were called, and the husband feels in violation, because we know what type of climate us as Black and brown people living in as it relates to proximity to police, and with there being a gun for the same reasons that Meg didn't want to tell on nobody. The husband felt the way that the police were put into a situation that Jag initiated, allegedly. So all in all, I feel like Jag is what she should be. Jag was never going to willfully get herself help.
Yeah.
So the universe loved her enough to sit her down for her. I hope that she takes the opportunity, because the universe conspiring against her mental health and putting her in a position, instead of being locked up, to actually go get
help,
a eval, and to go get help, is giving her an opportunity to find her soul salvation. And I really, really am rooting for Jag, because Jag is talented, Jag is charismatic, Jag is intelligent, but Jag is broken, and she's a hot mess. And if she can clean up these areas of her life and get clear and get emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically sober, Jag could be a beast on the like, she could be a force to reckon with, but her wounds sabotage her ability to fully self-actualize and tap into her highest good for herself.
Okay, you're gonna have to bring me in on the whole thing about Jag being a beast, because I have a different perspective when it comes down to Jag. Personally, at least some things that I've seen, Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like Jag is full of ish. No shade. I feel like she is. I feel like, okay, so let me just go by my notes because I know I'm probably want to hold a rant. Okay, so first thing I do want to speak of, I do want to make sure that I have the conversation strictly and hit it head on about mental health. That mental health is something serious that, like you said, I'm really glad that the situation did kind of play out the way that it actually did, not because of the embarrassment or etc., but because that now she's actually been administered into where she needs to be to actually work on herself, to be able to elevate her frequency and her consciousness. Cool with that. She needs help. I pray for the family. Because a lot of the times too, I would say even before the son spoke out, I really didn't hear about people really talking or speaking on Jag's family so much, as in what they probably are going through, how they feel about the situation or the drama that's going on. Now in terms of mental health, I wanted to make sure I really hit that on the head, because I feel like a lot of times from different panels, different channels that I've seen, either it's willfully or a subconscious thing. I feel like a lot of people kind of detour that conversation because of what's about to happen in 2.5 seconds. So I wanted to make sure I separate the two. Now, in the conversation of Jaguar Wright, a lot of times I hear a lot now. Conscious panels are most definitely receipts as well. I hear a lot of the times conversations surrounding conspiracy theories. Now we're going to talk about some of those conspiracy theories. The conspiracy theories of when Jaguar Wright got into the media again after her rise to stardom, after being inside the industry. This is when she got into the media again for exposing the industry of what she knew about the industry. Now, she said things along the lines of she had stories about Mariah Carey sleeping with this man or doing certain sexual things to be able to further her career. She spoke about Mary J. Blige not being able to sing and being on drugs, allegedly. Well, not really allegedly, because I think she is on drugs. Well, once upon a time, being on drugs. She did a lot of slut shaming when it came down to different artists and stuff, and talked about the industry and how certain women, even though they actually had talent, they actually had the it factor, but yet they still had to perform sexual favors to be able to catapult their career in the right direction. She talked about that. She talked about sacrificial rituals that were performed or talked about within the industry. And also, she also talked about the exploitation of minors. Now, that's what she talked about. So, since Jag was most definitely going on this exposing rant, exposing the industry, wanting to take the machine down, talking about Alicia Keys and her Alicia Keys and her alleged lesbianism and shit, which was funny as fuck to me. I'm sorry, it was funny. Now it seemed like once Jag was actually in a situation where her back was kind of against the wall, people are starting to speculate, at least that's what I heard from different panels throughout YouTube sectors. They're speculating now the situation that she's currently in is obviously a smear campaign. A smear campaign to take her out. They said when you're looking at artists that are willing to expose the industry, willing to talk about the darkness of the industry and their dirty secrets, all of a sudden they want to categorize these people as crazy. They want to make these people look like they're evil, etc., and destroy them. Now, I got that out the way. Talk to the viewers real quick. Once again, I say this all the time. A lot of the time, my frustrations, my concerns, my issues, they never really stem from the people that's directly involved in said situations. It's never that for me. For me specifically, it's typically the viewers or the audience that typically annoy my soul. Reason being, no shade. I feel like a lot of people are delusional. I feel like a lot of people are quote unquote fake woke. And like I said in the previous live, a lot of times people that are quote unquote woke, a lot of y'all might as well go back to sleep. And the reason why I'm saying a lot of y'all may want to go back to sleep, because we can't tell the difference between your woke higher consciousness and your low vibrational consciousness. They're just about identical twins. Now we're gonna get into more of depth when it comes down to Jaguar Wright and why I'm saying what I'm saying throughout this. I feel like when it comes down to a lot of viewers, once again, a hit dog gonna holler. If I ain't talking to you, don't worry about it. But if I am talking to you, if this shoe fit, put it on and wear it, Cinderella. Okay. Now, in terms of the viewers, I feel like a lot of them have a group think, sheep type of mentality, lacking a lot of critical thinking, allowing celebrities, allowing public figures, allowing the media to tell bold-faced lies to your face, and you take it for face value and you actually believe those things. Or sometimes, like I would say, sometimes even when I hear different theories, for me, I can entertain a lot of theories, but for me, just make it make sense. And a lot of times when I hear people speak or I hear people say certain theories, the theory may sound good for the surface, but a lot of times I want people to like try to push the issue. Okay, like, okay, that sounds good, but what about this? Or what about that? It's not that I don't think that your theory is completely wrong. Like I can understand how you got to that theory, but I want people to start thinking all things completely through. And when you think things all the way through, you will actually start to realize that, you know what, that doesn't make any sense. You know what, that's not right. So the lack of critical thinking is very much a very dangerous state, because that also plays a part into the other story when it comes down to Neurotic K and Larry Reid. But we're going to get into that. Now, another thing as well that I've noticed is that people will defend their belief, which is just about their perception of things. Instead of people being able to accept or realize that you have access to new information, or you're privy to more information than you were before, instead of improving your perception or enhancing the way that you may view the world or see the world or be more enlightened, a lot of people would rather fight the new information and defend their perception or what they believe or what they perceive instead of what's actually in front of them and being presented. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because that's very dangerous, because I feel like a lot of times we talk about the judicial system and how corrupted it is and all these things, but we're also the same people that literally look through the lens of having a bias, which completely blurs our perception of the way that we may take in, perceive, and also hold context of information. Now, let's get into the frustrations. Now, here's the frustrations that I have. The frustrations is that I feel like a lot of times when I've seen Jaguar, I've seen her, she's been exploited in a sense. Whenever I see her in media or into interviews, because even though I've seen her in her interviews and stuff, at least for me, I've noticed that I'm like, okay, something seems to be going on. Like something, I'm not trying to say it, but I need you guys to follow me. Something seems to be going on. And if you know what that something is, you will know why her current state is where it is and where she is right now. Something seems to be going on. So the fact that I felt like with her having all these different types of interviews and no one has ever quote unquote picked up on those things, I think that's kind of far-fetched to believe. And since I believe that's far-fetched and I'm not even in the room with her and I'm thinking that something's going on, how does one literally be in the same room with her and not think the same thing, but yet you want her to have what you want to have her on your podcast, but you want her to have her within these interviews and say certain things and do certain things within the interviews. I don't know. Now, before I proceed, you have any comments, concerns
about Miss Jag?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as it relates to her being a beast, you know, like some people have said in the comments section,
mm-hmm.
Jag is like a mesh of truth,
mm-hmm.
wisdom, and bullshit. And it's the bullish that tilts
that pendulum.
The credibility and the sincerity of the things that she shared, which I do believe are insightful. Mm-hmm. And I can see also the reality of. But when you have the messenger who is lacking credibility and constantly contradicts themselves by doing the very same thing that she accuses is so very pervasive and present in the industry, then either it leads you to believe that either you're talking about a system that's just like you, or it just brings into question the sincerity of the claims that are just being made. And unfortunately, it is important because Jag has to realize that she's a storyteller who's telling things that can be believable, but largely without facts. Therefore, it's important for her herself to exist in an upright way because the truth is ultimately riding on her character.
Yeah.
Because that's all she has. She doesn't have facts. She's not bringing us tapes. She's not bringing us hard evidence. She's not bringing us anything physical. She's bringing us stories and situations that we've also heard in the public space, that we've also been told by other people. And so it's just really unfortunate. And, I heard a song that Jag was working on and she acapella'd it. And the woman is just a gifted writer. She's a gifted singer. She's an incredible artist. She is, she's a great orator. And she has an immense potential, and she lives in a culture that's looking for answers, where we know something is wrong with the system. We just need somebody who can really express what we are experiencing psychically and intuitively, because we can sense that things are wrong. We just can't get to the root. We can't quite understand the inner workings, and she has the potential to really fill that space. But if she's a mess and she's in shambles and her character's a little warped, then unfortunately it does take away from her mission, because this truth is coming through this bottle known as Jag, and that bottle is in terrible condition right now. So
yeah, I agree. I'm gonna have to agree, because I want to make sure to let people know my pendulum swings when it comes down to Jag. In terms of, I think a lot of times that when I typically get in conversation with people that are speaks about Jag and then brings up the conspiracy theories, etc., I kind of stay on one end of the spectrum just because of the context of the conversation. But she's very talented. And I do believe that she does have insight, and I do believe that some of the things that she does say, or she said or claims, does hold truth. And so this is what's going to lead me into my next thing I'm going to say. My frustration that comes, that always enters that always enters the chat, is that whenever people talk about conspiracy theories, for me personally, I always think it's very convenient. Reason why I feel like it's very convenient is because it's like, if you actually talk about the the situation at hand, yes, we can talk about the conspiracy theories of they're trying to get rid of Jag. Yes, we can talk about the conspiracy theories of this is a smear campaign. Yes, we can talk about the conspiracy theories of yada 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 yada. Like we can talk about all those things, but here's the thing. I think that if you're going to do that, we must look at the situation, and also something that my teachers have most definitely always told me. And I noticed that some people are starting to use it. It's called consider the source. When you look at the situation, I feel personally there's a manipulative, deflective tactics that are used within the situation. Whenever people do try to bring up conspiracy theories, because when it comes down to actually, and y'all know I do not like this word with a passion, but I'm gonna use it for
accountability.
Girl, we're gonna hold whenever it comes to actually holding Jag accountable. Who would have got that word? Accountable for things that she said or things that she has done. All of a sudden, conspiracy theories enters the chat. And then people use those conspiracy theories as a way to dismiss the fuck shit she has done. And so that's my only issue when it comes down to conspiracy theory, because it's very convenient. Yes, these conversations of conspiracy theories, yes, holds truth. Yes, these are conversations that hold power and hold weight. But I think that whenever people actually bring those conversations up, they're using it as a deflective and manipulative tactic. No shade. Now, the reason why I want to say consider the source is because Jaguar Wright is also one of the ones that talked about the industry and talked about how minors were exploited. But my thing is this: if you actually paid attention to, yes, come on, Conscious, yes, ma'am.
I'm ready.
Yay, yes, we got another member to the channel. I know that's right. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I feel like whenever it comes down to considering the source of Jaguar Wright and her behavior and the things that I've witnessed her do, is this. You talked about the industry and talked about them exploiting minors. Now, here's the thing. Truth. The industry does exploit minors. But once again, consider the source. Yes, conversation is true, but now we're going to consider the source. This is also the same woman that had a situation with Toxic K and Storm Monroe, to where she was trying to get in touch with Storm Monroe about a story, because I don't know if the story was actually true or not. I didn't get that far into it.
It wasn't any basis to it.
Okay, so a story about a minor being sexually assaulted, and instead of her actually going to the law to actually find justice for said victim that's a minor, she decided to go to a blog and try to exploit this minor's pain for attention and for a click and a view. So how can you on one end talk about the industry exploiting minors, but yet on the other end you're doing the exact same thing but in a different form? You can't, once again, and this is what I always say, y'all make sure y'all plaster this, and y'all just, if y'all want to clip this, y'all can clip this if y'all want to. You cannot talk about somebody being a crackhead when you're alcoholic. That is just no shade. Now, she also talked about, now let's get into this. Now, I also got into what Nosy Ho and Jaguar Wright's relationship and their fallout. Now, Nosy Ho also made claims saying and talking about, hey, Mandrell, what's going on? Hold on.
Mandrell, you need to be green because I know you work and I know you got it. So you need to be green. Okay.
Green.
Join today, saw.
Arshawn said, "What's going on, Mandrell?" But here's the thing: like, I've gotten into Nosy Ho and Jaguar Wright's relationship situation, etc. So there was a specific video that Nosy Ho did that caught my attention, and I clicked on it, and I heard a couple of things that I thought was very interesting. Nosy Ho said that, and I went back and I checked and made sure my facts were correct. Nosy Ho said that when it came down to Raphael Radic, I believe I said his name right, Raphael Radic, Jaguar Wright exposed, and there's a clip for that, it's on her channel, exposed that Raphael Sadiq was trying to groom a 12-year-old boy. Now, only reason I can really say this for sure is because I seen the clip for myself. Was trying to groom a 12-year-old boy. Now, what Nosy Ho said is one of the reasons why she stepped away from Jaguar, and you guys can find this, is that Jaguar didn't want to go ham on Raphael Sadiq because they made good music together. So you can't take a stance, like you cannot take a stance of this industry is exploiting children, but yet you're trying to talk to Toxic K and Storm Monroe about an alleged story, a false story of an underage person being violated, and not actually taking it serious and being the advocate that you say that you are. Consider the source. You can't talk about the industry exploiting minors, but yet when it actually comes time for you to be that leader and that voice and stand up against somebody that you know that you exposed, because it didn't come out of Nosy Ho mouth, it came out of your mouth, Jag, that you exposed on Nosy Ho Live that he was trying to groom a minor. But yet you don't want to hold that person accountable because y'all made good music together. Consider the source. You're also the same person that basically told what you told Nosy Ho Live and called her a witch, which I thought was very interesting because how are you going to demonize witches and try to take this moral approach and stance and calling Beyonce a witch? Probably true. Nosy Ho witch, we don't know.
Talking about the occult and the overall music,
the occult, the Illuminati, etc. But once again, remember, y'all, conversation holds truth. Now, I'm not gonna say Nosy Ho's a witch because I don't know, but the conversation surrounding the industry and the occultism and all this other stuff, that's a conversation that holds truth. Which, guess what? We get the conspiracy theorists. It gets them drawn in. They're paying, oh girl, they paying attention. But then yet, once again, you have to consider the source. This is also the same woman that literally was on IG Live not too long ago, getting into it with her husband. But not only that, decided to go grab her deceased son's ashes, throw them on random people and also the husband, saying all different types of things, and then rub it in on her face. Now, what was that again, Conscious?
It was a Hindu battle ritual that people who want to avenge the death of deceased loved ones do before they execute judgment and terrorism upon those who they believe are at fault for such an injustice. Which told me that that Jag, since she was going ballistic on everybody, is actually blaming the world. She's in her I'm mad at everybody. That's what she kept saying. And they're all gonna DIE. They're all gonna DIE. So she doesn't have closure about her son's passing, unfortunately. And that's why I say Jag is where she needs to be. And I hope that she leans into it. Now, people in the chat are saying she called in. There was a phone call where she called in and she still is actively kind of resisting. I know that Jag is stubborn. I know she feels like she's being set up. And once again, she's still in. everybody is against me, including being here in this facility is against me. But if what I've seen happen is if Jag don't lean in and rock with it, the universe gonna rock her black ass up right on up out of here.
Yep. And you know the reason why, because they said I see what you're saying, you can't pick and choose. And here's the thing about the picking and choosing. It's because I understand everybody's not perfect, but here's the thing that gets me with Jag, and it's the reason why I kind of eye her a lot. She kind of gives me the Kanye West thing. It's like this. It's like you can't condemn a sector or section within the industry or the industry for doing certain things, but then yet you go and indulge in the exact same thing that you're trying to demonize. So that right there lets me know is that, okay, so if you were part of the cool crew, the cool group, the cool guys, the elite, would you be still having that exact same stance if things didn't go south? Would you be so quick to condemn witches within the industry, but yet you want to use their methods even though you're not in the industry? It doesn't make any sense at all to me personally. Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. No shade.
I'm sorry, I was responding to.
No, you're all good.
And
like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I want to go down a little bit more. So yes, you called Nosy Ho live, Nosy Ho a witch, but yet you're the one, and once again, we don't have proof of that. But then yet you're the one on IG Live taking your deceased son's ashes, rubbing on your face, chanting only God knows what. And keep in mind, y'all, in hoodoo practices, because I do hoodoo, in hoodoo practices, dirt, ashes, powders, they play a very important role. So whenever I do my candle magic, certain dirts and stuff that I use plays a very important role. So if I'm doing candle magic, like for money, yeah, I'm going to use dirt from a bank. If I'm using like a spiritual and thing like that, I'm probably going to use dirt from a church. So you mean to tell me if we take that exact same logic and we have ashes, dirt, etc. We have ashes from your ancestor, your descendant, etc., whatever, and you're rubbing it on your face, and then you're chanting, because keep in mind, y'all, we the same group of people that say stuff like words are spells. The words are powerful, and you're literally saying they're all gonna doing this chant. That's spell work. So the fact that you're able to try to demonize somebody for allegedly doing the exact same thing that we have proof of you doing, it makes you a big giant hypocrite. Once again, you can't talk about somebody being a crackhead when you're alcoholic. Consider the source. No shade. Now, she also talked about the industry having abusers. Once again, conversation holds truth. Once again, if you into the conspiracy theories or you're into the meaningful conversations about the industry, you get they draw you right in. You're like, oh yes, paying attention. Once again, you like this. But then once again, consider the source. So I did a little bit of digging. Just a tad bit, not too much. I'm gonna come back and probably do another video on this person. So from what I've gathered and what I've heard, I could be wrong, but what I gathered and what I've heard is that you're literally talking about people being abusers and trying to demonize all these people within the industry, rightfully so, if they are truly abusers, cool. But yet you link up with a said abuser by the name of Solar. How are you going to demonize people for being with abusers? From the surface level, that makes sense. But then you go and team up, link up with an alleged abuser, because it's stuff that I kind of heard, alleged abuser by the name of Solar. Come on, solar panels. Solar panel. What sense does that make? Once again, can't talk about somebody being a crackhead when you are alcoholic. Consider the source. You got anything else you want to say?
People were also saying, because I forgot to mention this too, that there might have been substance abuse that also contributed to that outburst. Because remember,
come on, 111.
Oh, period. Hold on, is 111 on where?
No, I'm talking about on the viewer. Well, it says on my thing. I don't know if you see that.
Okay. Because remember when her husband had went live to give his side, he was recording from the parking lot, and he said that Jag and Solar Panels was doing lines. They were doing lines.
Girl. And you know they you know what they say, doing all different types of substances, allegedly doing all different types of substances and drinking and stuff, it puts you in an altered state. Remember, so it's wines and spirits.
I think it was all intentional. I think that the substances that lead to the altered states, coupled with the ash ritual, was all a spirit summoning act of revenge. Whatever got unlocked in Jag that day, which according to her husband was her simply losing her mind because he chose to go off and cool his head, etc. And she wasn't feeling that, and she's a control freak apparently, and she just had enough. I mean, Jag's issues are layered. I remember when, you know, like she's an alleged also sexual assault.
Yeah.
You know, she's got a lot of trauma. She lost a son. She's been through a lot, you know. You know, she's definitely got misguided and misdirected anger. She's got trauma. She's got all of that, and it's really eating away at Jag. And it's really sad to see Jag in the social media space because she's being exploited in this space. You know, people, you know, she's being used for a click in the view, and Jag also is doing the using as well. You know, she self-medicates through this attention seeking. She self-medicates through the drama and kind of the attraction to chaos, because a part of her is in a state of chaos.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just a sad state of affairs altogether. And that's why even when like Jag was doing it big with her interviews when she first came forward, and her and Storm was doing it, you know, I just saw a lot of things that are now coming to fruition. And I do believe that what somebody said is true. I believe that when Jag gets out, Jag is going to be Jaguar 7.0 in this mother lover, and it's going to be gun blazing, baby. Okay. And I think you won't be able to tell her. You will not be able to tell her that Rock Nation was not behind this arrest, baby. You will not be able to tell her.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
This hospitalization, baby. You won't be able to tell her. You will not be able to tell her that them celebrity Illuminati behind folk is not behind, baby, setting her family up and all this, baby. Trust me, it's gonna be on, honey.
There we go. But there we go again. Remember, I said they like to take a little bit of truth, or they like to spin. She like to spin narratives. Come on, 111 in my viewers, like spin narratives. Remember, all of a sudden you bring a Rock Nation, knowing that the Tory Lanez thing just happened, knowing that conspiracy theory literally just went by, and it kind of died down a little bit. And you know, and plus you already know the whole thing where everybody's blaming Rock Nation this, you know, my coffee is cold, Rock Nation did it. Or, you know, my dog didn't, pissed on the floor, my Rock Nation did it. You know, that thing was going around, and now you're gonna use this is what I mean was like the weaponization of real conversations or certain theories, or I just can't. It's like I just can't. And you know, another thing that gets me with Jag too, and this actually goes to the slut shaming and stuff. And this is the reason why I need for her to understand the assignment. In addition to her doing her interviews and her being in the media, it's also the point in the fact that you need to understand what space that you're in. You're not doing the conversation any justice when you're in a misogynistic space, demonizing Mariah Carey for what she had to do to make her career, well, allegedly what she had to do to make her career go to the next level, what Mary J. Blige had to do to make the career go to the next level. And the thing about it is that if you're going to take the stance of going against the industry and taking down the industry, then you need to keep your talking points on the industry, not the players or the chess pieces within the industry. You need to talk about the actual industry. Stop talking about the chess pieces. Talk about the actual board. That's what you need to do. And every single time she doesn't do that. And plus, when she and plus, I'm being completely honest, I don't think she has an interest in doing that. To be completely honest with you,
I don't either.
I really don't believe she has
that. That's because I think injury to the puppets is easier to obtain than injuring the actual puppeteers.
Yeah.
So she rather focus on the puppets. And when somebody was saying that they believe about the lines and the husband claiming that it was some substance abuse, what I do know about when it comes particularly to that Christina Aguilera, that apparently that Christina Aguilera makes you aggressive. People on that booger sugar, they violence is a byproduct of that particular spirit in that particular substance. So considering how violent she was in that episode, it wasn't giving Pepsi, that's for sure.
Girl. Well, y'all make sure y'all thumbs up this video. Y'all really does help out with YouTube's algorithm. Once again, please make sure you guys thumbs up, because once we do our job in here, YouTube can finally do their job out there. And when they do their job out there, people can actually come here. Okay? So please make sure you guys thumbs up. That really does help out with YouTube's algorithm and also helps out the channel. Okay? So, yeah. And so I just feel like, honestly, when it comes down to the whole Jags, like, I feel like she always missed the mark. And I personally, from what my personal perspective and what I think, is that I don't think she has an interest in trying to actually take down the industry. I think she does all of this for entertainment purposes, to grab the attention of the media. And the reason why I say that is because even with this whole Storm Monroe Toxic K situation, where she was trying to get in touch with Storm Monroe and Tasha, it exposed her hand for me. Because the thing about it is that, why are you going to them? You need to be going to the cops. You need to be going to the cops. And with you not going to the cops, you're exposing your hand that you're doing all this for attention. Just so we can have another thumbnail with your face in it. Just so you can have another exclusive with Unhinged Neurotic K, what her line is. So you can have another exclusive and get in touch with. And that's the thing too. It's the manipulative tactics, because the thing about it is that the story wasn't even real. And on top of that, you wasn't even trying to get an exclusive or anything like that. You was just trying to get in touch with Storm.
Try to get your Storm. That's it.
And once again, consider the source. You full of ish. No shade. Now, girl, now let's talk about this other thing.
I'm gonna let you be the charge, girl. I just did 4 hours of running that
race. You just went on the hell.
So I'm an ad-lib. Yep.
You made sure the bit just get. Let's just. So let's get into Miss Toxic Neurotic K and Larry Reid. So, as everybody knows, there was an accuser that came forth. His name is Levontre Andrews. He has made claims that Larry Reid allegedly violated him when he was 14, 15, basically a minor, or a teenager, but minor. Of course, Larry most definitely has denied those claims, saying that those claims are not true. He does know Levontre, but however, he met him later on in life. Now, here's the thing. Later on, Tasha K most definitely came out with an interview. Like, me just thinking about this shit just pisses me off. Came out with an interview with Levontre, and she allowed him to have a voice take a stand and give off and tell his story about what happened to him from his perspective about the events that happened between him and Larry Reid. Let's talk about some few things. Okay. First things first. Let's talk about Tasha K and Larry Reid's history. So, Crazy K, she used to be associated with Larry Reid. They had a friendship, mentorship. I really don't know what the relationship was to its T.
Friendship.
They were friends. Okay, they were friends, but I know that Armand Wiggins was also friends with Larry Reid as well. There was a beef that Tasha K and Armand Wiggins had, and a lot of the times I personally felt that both of them tried to put Larry Reid in between both of their beefs. Or I felt like Larry Reid was kind of stuck in the middle, or they was trying to put him in the middle between both of their beefs. And
talk a little bit more about that.
You said what?
Like, what do you mean? Talk a little bit more about that. Them putting.
Oh, I've noticed that sometimes when it came down to your panels and stuff, I feel like they will all be like kind of do that whole thing where they're going back and forth, and one of them, sometimes Tasha, I feel like she'll be more subtle with hers. She'll be like, "Yeah, Larry, didn't this happen?" Or, "Larry, what you think about this?" Or, "Larry, da 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 da." And I'm like, "Girl, get." Larry's not gonna pick a side. If he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it out of his will. Stop trying to make it low. Stop trying to low key have people come on your side. Like if you're the truth, stand on your truth. Your truth is gonna stand without all the other stuff. And I felt like a lot of times when it came down to that situation between the two, at least the stuff that I've seen from my personal perspective, I felt like that will always happen. So that's what I viewed it as. I was like, okay, I see I see things that's going on. Now, of course, there was a situation with this bitch right next to me, Conscious, and Miss Toxic K, where they were on Sledgehammer, which, okay, by the way, y'all, Sledgehammer, she's the assistant. She's the assistant for Neurotic K. So Sledgehammer had a panel. So while Sledgehammer was having a panel, she had Conscious on there, and she also had Toxic K. They had a dispute about what Tasha believed had happened, or some events that had happened, and from her perspective, Conscious had a different perspective on what the hell happened. She got mad that Conscious had a different perspective. He made a joke about something. She got upset. Larry came on, told the truth about the current events or the certain events that happened, made her look like a fool because what information that she had about the events wasn't even the truth. But then again, at the same time, how can we expect the truth or anything credible from somebody whose brand is based off of alcoholic beverages and an altered state? How can you recall anything the truth?
Alcohol and lies and alcohol.
Girl, like, how can you recall the truth when you're always in an altered state? So it doesn't even make sense. But however, that's on task for her brand. Now, after some time, I also want to talk about this as well. I'm not gonna say even Larry. Tasha K fell out with Larry because of that situation, because she was embarrassed, because she found out that she was lied to, because of they wanted to keep certain information under wraps and underground. So she fell out with Larry. Larry didn't fall out with her. So, but also, before I even get any further in that, I want to talk about Tasha K and Bishop Whitehead, aka the false prophet, their relationship. Because initially, and correct me if I'm wrong, or go a little bit more in detail for me. Initially, wasn't Tasha K, wasn't she the one really going after Whitehead in the beginning, but now all of a sudden they're friends?
Yeah, after the robbery, like everybody else, Unhinged definitely had choice words for Bishop, and he was a part of her Hot Topic shows. I think even his incident where he put his hands on Tasha Howard, an unarmed Black woman that he called to the front of his congregation and then manipulated her and shoved her out of his church physically. Yeah, she was totally against Bishop Blackhead, just like his attorney, Brian L. Ponder, who's disbarred in the state of Oklahoma from practicing law, was also against him around the same time. And now Brian L. Ponder is representing him, and Unhinged is thinking that she's making Larry jealous by choosing a 2-time convicted felon currently facing an indictment, her new residential pastor. Make it make sense.
Remember, you know what's funny too is that birds of a feather most definitely are going to
migrate together.
They're going to flock together. Because I also think it's very interesting that it was something that you said. Repeat the last thing you said, because I just forgot it, but it was something that you said that made me remember. Oh, there we go. I think it's very interesting that when it came down to the false prophet, when it came down to him, it's funny how his lawyer beforehand had a different perspective on the way that he viewed the false prophet, and most definitely was saying things behind his back. But isn't the same situation that literally just happened with Toxic K? And that's the reason why y'all fell out, because she was embarrassed because she was told something completely different from her lawyer friend. Birds of a feather flock together. You can't talk about somebody being a crackhead when you're an alcoholic. And I'm not even saying that because her name is because of her brand. Y'all follow the figurative language.
A coincidence also ain't a coincidence.
The coincidence. Consider the source. Now here's the thing. Now the reason I want to talk about those things, because these are the things that I keep in context when I'm hearing stories about Levante, etc. Now in the beginning, I kind of just kept my foot on Neurotic's neck, but I really didn't comment too much on Levante because I didn't know the ins and outs, and plus I didn't want to be one of the people that jumped out the window and then I didn't have all the information. I gotta jump right back through that bitch. Just saying. But since I have a lot more information, I think it's very interesting that Neurotic is literally trying to take this stance of we're going to listen to this victim and yada yada yada. I have a question. The question that I have is this. I want to know if it's genuine. If it's genuine of her, quote unquote, wanting to listen to victims, keep in mind who she's connected to. You're connected to a female rapper whose husband's character and history is very much sketchy and it's very much documented. So I think it's very interesting that you want to talk about, quote unquote, trying to hear victims out. But yet, when it was time to hear other victims out, you're actually friends with the wife of a perpetrator of violence that's documented, and you don't want to hear that victim. I think that's very interesting. What I also think is very interesting too, and then of course I have to ask if it's genuine, is because if you were Larry Reid's friend and you guys had your little 1-2 on a panel, you fall out with him. It's hard for me to believe that within 24 hours, this said information of Levante just falls into your lap. So that's hard for me to believe. So it's either one or two things that happen, at least in my perspective, and this is me trying to make it make sense. One or two things actually happen. One, you already knew of this allegation or you knew about these things, but since you're taking the stance of we're always going to, quote unquote, allow the victims to speak and we're going to protect victims, if that's the case, if you knew this stuff and all these things, then my question to you, why didn't you say nothing beforehand? Why didn't you take a stance beforehand if this is genuine? It's BS, and she's full of shit. And the other thing that I think is very interesting, and there could be the other possibility, which I really think this actually happened, is that after you fell out with Larry Reid, you went after him. You went to go find dirt on him. You went to go find his open enemies. You went to go find information or rumors that were out there, because we already know anything that comes from your platform is not credible.
Can I just insert something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
As you're saying that, remember when I said Olga, her attorney, who her and Larry shared at that time, told Larry, do not tell Unhinged that I did not pay this thing in full. Tell her that I did if she asks you, because I don't want to hear her mouth.
Yeah.
So that's what he did, right?
Yeah.
Now, she said Olga told her that she paid the tab in full, which means that she intentionally didn't confront Larry about the $25K intentionally. She held on to it. She didn't even ask him, hey, I saw you raise this money on your platform, and your mentee also raised $8,000 on his platform of that $25K. But Olga told me that she paid the whole thing. She never even gave him the opportunity to speak to it because she was putting it in her back pocket for Mad Day. Now, clock it, Reckless, right? She the same one who was also windmilling for Larry when it came to Levontre and the YouTube uploader who facilitated those interviews. She told Larry to sue Levontre. She told Larry to sue the YouTube uploader. And there's literally screenshots that we have of her in the YouTube uploader's comment section at that time when he was talking ish and revving up that whole thing, and her windmilling for Larry. And that's why the YouTube uploader now can be found underneath her videos talking ish like, I received your apology, but you owe me because you really was representing for this nigga and standing beside this dude, etc. So what I think happened is, because of that Olga situation and her never giving Larry a chance to clean it up, I think even though she was posing as Larry's friend, even while she was swinging for him, she was saving those interviews. She was collecting that information then, and she was back pocketing it just in case.
And that's my point exactly. And the reason why I say you have to pay attention, people tell you who they are. They tell you who they are. They show you who they are. You have to pay attention to what's being said and done and what's not being said and what's not being done. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, and I really want to go down that rabbit hole and kind of really talk about that, is because it's like, it's either one or two things. Either you already knew about this information and you didn't say nothing because you having proximity to Larry Reid was very much beneficial, so you was able to kiss the ring. Or you purposely went out of your way after you felt embarrassed by Larry, after you found a certain information that you weren't privy to from your very own friend. You purposely went out of your way to find narratives, to find rumors, to find accusations that could damage him because you felt you were embarrassed. So either way, it's still fucked up. So that's why I'm like, y'all not gonna get in my face and try to, I guess, go on this whole, well, you know, she's not that bad. No, she's telling you who she is. Y'all have to pay attention to the actions. She's showing y'all. Y'all need to pay attention to the actions. But now this one, I'm gonna go back to the viewers again. Once again, another public service announcement. Some of y'all, please stop being delusional. Please stop being delusional. These people show you guys who they are. Now I'm gonna say this as well too. With me being a new content creator, I'm gonna do it like this for the conspiracy theorists. Now this is probably the only time I'm really gonna give y'all and really try to bring it in for y'all. Think of this as like the industry. You hear about the whispers and the murmurs of the way certain content creators may move, or how certain people may have a certain face while they're on camera. Yes, yes, hello, rhinos. Yes, yes. Or, hey, welcome to the show. But behind the scenes, there's somebody completely different. Or there's a nasty side to content creating on this domain, YouTube. And me actually having proximity to certain people, I'm able to see some of the stuff that people are willing to do and how far they're willing to go. And it's nasty.
Evil.
Evil, disgusting.
Hoes going to hell.
To be completely honest, I'm going to jump out the window. Not fully, though. There's
Just
even people that try to appear nice, and I'm not even talking about Tasha K, that appear nice, try to appear neutral, try to appear like,
got you.
Girl, you already know.
Oh my God.
But your actions say different. I'm just gonna leave that there because I haven't gotten the okay to go all the way there, so I'm not gonna go all the way there.
You edging, honey. You edging. You edging the line, honey. You edging the line.
Yeah, I'm edging because I'm like my thing is I've sat back and I've watched this for like some months now. I'm like, oh, these heifers, they ain't not to be trusted. Yeah.
And they think nobody don't see, but we just diplomatic enough to do our fake church shit too. Hey, call me, girl. Okay.
Girl. That's good. These fake assholes, girl. But yeah, there is a dark side to this bullshit too. Now, if you want to say that's a conspiracy theory as well, because I ain't got no proof. But there's a dark side to this as well too.
Yeah, it is.
But then again, the proof is in the pudding. We just
it's proof. It's proof.
She proof. But there's a dark side. So I need for the viewers to stop being so. Once again, if I'm not talking to you, I'm not talking to you. Viewers need to stop being so delusional. Realize that some faces that you see that always have a smile. Remember, sometimes even sociopaths, psychopaths, they smile when they stab somebody in the back too. Like I said, people lack critical thinking. They don't hold context, and the reason being is because there's a bias there, which is actually a psychological. I wish I had my book. It's way over there, girl. I ain't getting up. But it's a psychological reason why people don't retain information. One of the psychological factors why people don't hold information. I think there's like 6 other factors of why people don't retain information that they receive. And since 9 times out of 10 in these spaces, there's a bias there. Most of the time, people don't hold information because they have a bias, which blurs their perception. Now let's talk about a few things, girl. Let's talk about the manipulative and deflective tactics that were used throughout the conversation of Toxic K, the false prophet, and Larry Reid. Let's talk about the dog whistles. What's a dog whistle? A dog whistle is something that's said within conversations throughout dialogue. And if you're not aware of certain language, of certain conversations, then a person saying something or having a certain phrase, it doesn't trigger up certain thoughts or you don't catch it. And the reason being is because it's also like I want to say like a gaslighting effect. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's also like a gaslighting effect to where you can psychologically drop certain ideas in people's heads. Now, I'm going to talk about those ideas. Certain dog whistles. Now, I was on her live. I stumbled across her live. And like Conscious told me this yesterday. He said, you must have like a psychic ability to catch when you need to catch, because you always seem to catch as soon as you go. Because he was like, as soon as I went right into that live, I heard one of the dog whistles that I know that she always loves to use. she likes to weaponize, and it's the same thing with Jaguar Wright. She likes to weaponize real conversations that holds weight, that holds validity, but is very convenient and is manipulative and deflective whenever they do try to have these conversations or say certain things to trigger up people. And the words would be Black woman. She likes to take the stance of, I'm a Black woman. Yes, that's a fact. You are a Black woman. But what you're not going to do is trying to weaponize you being a Black woman whenever people are, quote unquote, y'all know I hate this word with a passion, try to hold you accountable for that you do. Don't try to use you being a Black woman as an escape route from your accountability. So I got into the live and she was saying, hey, it's just sad that deal. I'm paraphrasing, y'all. It's sad that that they're gonna do all this, because I'm a Black woman. And what does that do? That acts as MK Ultra inside the heads of certain Black women. That if they hear that, they're gonna blindly follow her, get activated, and keep in mind too, if you're a wino, your brain is already in an altered state of consciousness. So she's gonna say that, get you triggered up, and have you going after this person, not knowing that she was the author and the person that started the whole situation, regardless.
And she did the same thing in the Cardi B verdict with the dog whistle. The dog whistle, after she lost the verdict that she bet her children's life on winning. Okay, she got online, and like you said, in that Dollar Tree light with that foggy all white on, and then she gave her Mammy Luther King speech.
Get into it.
And she made it a Black issue so that the Black demographic that follows her could immediately personalize and racialize the loss rather than see it for what it was. Bitch, you a liar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's so that language.
The activation of the MK Ultra.
I'm telling you, because I'm like, oh girl, I know what you're doing. It's the triggering language. I'm here. I see you. They probably can't see you, but I see you. And what happened after that? Every time we had the conversations about the case, what did people say on the chat? Well, not all people. What's up, Red Clark? What did people say in the chat when it came down to Cardi B and Tasha K and us talking about those things? Well, Cardi B's not a Black woman.
Black woman.
She's not a Black. And I'm like, the MK Ultra's already working right there, and she does it all the time.
And that's what she meant to do. That's what she meant to do, to deflect from the fact that you are a slanderer and you literally push narratives that were unfounded. You could not prove a single exhibit to be true. The clip that you said was on adult sites of Cardi B shoving a bottle up her cooch was proved not to be her. You claiming that she acknowledged the herp bump on her lip is actually not what she said when she was speaking ghetto Spanish. She said that people say that this is a herp bump on my lip. Not her saying this is. Okay. You also just knew that she was positive for this, and even had the judge put her through a second herp testing facility at the one of your choice. Choice. And she still came out herp negative. It was the lies. Overton and Overton. Baby, this ain't got nothing to do with race. This ain't got nothing to do with you being a Black woman. Right, it's just that a racially ambiguous woman held you accountable for the wrong you did, and the courts honored it on wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong.
And then she's trying to get innocent Black women to rally up behind her. Girl, no. The fuck? But Conscious, I want you to speak to this because I don't want to misspeak or anything like that. Now it says, hi, I haven't heard any content creators ask this one question. Did Larry ever have any type of intimate relationship with Trey? And if so, at what age were they?
They don't need to answer that because Larry already done answered to that. No, and that's why I played the audio recording today between Larry and Unhinged because he emphatically states, no, I have never done anything sexual or inappropriate to anybody who is underage or a minor. It's not true. They never had any sexual relationship, not as an adult, not as a young adult, not as any of that, not as a underage or minor. They never had any sexual contact. Actually, Larry's so goddamn goofy that if you would have joined his Patreon, I ain't gonna get into that. Girl, yes, just get into last Patreon, girl.
Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to his Patreon. Right. Shout out to Larry. Okay, so yeah, another thing too is that she weaponizes Black women. She uses that when also another tactic is that she says sympathy and payola. That's another triggering language, dog whistle. Now, another thing I want to talk about as well, because this is something that I really didn't hear a lot of people talk about. And I mentioned it on your panel, but this conversation surrounding Larry and Storm Monroe's sexual orientation and people having doubt that these are heterosexual men. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about that is it's because I noticed that even for same-gender loving people in their panels, I noticed people literally conflating someone, since they believe that someone like Larry is not telling the truth about his sexual orientation, they believe that it equates to him actually violating a minor. I was like, if one thing that some queer people are going to do, they are most definitely going to do a disservice to a conversation. How the hell do you get, from y'all perspective, not y'all, but y'all, but not y'all, but y'all, how the hell do you get someone, quote unquote, not being open and honest about their sexual orientation to actually victimizing minors? Allegedly. And the reason why I wanted to have that conversation is because I was literally on in someone's live or whatever, a couple lives, and the people kept talking about, since Larry is, and I'm quoting them, since Larry is since he is, he has spoken out about being gay and stuff. Completely, y'all, they completely misquoted what Larry said, and this is the reason why some of y'all hoes are fucking dangerous when it comes down to the telephone game. Since Larry has been open about, being gay and all the little things, and I don't think that he's straight, I can believe that he did this and he victimized a minor. And I'm like, y'all are not going to sit up here and equate one's sexual orientation to sexual abuse. That does not make sense. I have a question. Have you noticed that? Because I like a lot of times when I enter these different chats, lives or whatever, I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. And plus, I'm gonna say also, I don't hear a lot of queer people talking about that either. I'm like, how are queer people not clocking this either? That people are actually conflating those ideas, and it's just the fact that us as a culture, we want to have conversations like this, And then we want to get mad at DL people and why they exist. But yet, when you have heterosexual men that may not be the most masculine or this toxic masculinity that you guys imagine, and they let you know that, yo, I'm myself. I'm not going to be all this extra masculine because of what the hell you think. Me not being this idea of masculinity does not equate to my sexual orientation. I know what I like, but I also know who I am. And me being all this alpha masculine, ultra masculine thing, that's not me. And so now when you have men that are actually comfortable with themselves, know themselves, you want to shame them, push them into or out of a closet, and tell them who they are, and then y'all think that DL people, actual DL people, are not looking at this and saying, oh, no, I think it's completely safe to be open and honest about who you are. I think it's completely safe for me to be, tell the truth about what I like. But you're demonizing people that show up in different ways, non-traditional ways of what a man is, and you're demonizing them. You need to make it make sense.
Oh, I got a few things to say about this.
We'll get into it
because I'm popular for saying that I believe that H should easily be included in the LGBTQIA H acronym because heterosexuality is just as much of a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, homosexuality and heterosexuality are actually on the same spectrum. There's two extreme opposite ends of the same spectrum. Everything else is in the middle. So I just think it's interesting because, here it is. You have a man who's comfortable enough, unlike a lot of other men, to say and admit that he has had same-sex experiences, something that women constantly, and the overall Black community, right, constantly says, be honest, be honest, be honest. But then at the same time, like you said, we can see immediately why men are not honest, because they're not given grace and they're not allowed to control their own narrative once they are honest. Because once they hint to anything aside from heterosexuality, they automatically get titled and treated like a homosexual. Something that we see is definitely a double standard in the Black community, because women constantly speak about their bi-curiosity. They speak about going through a lesbian and queer phase. They speak about experimenting in college and are afforded to go on and identify as heterosexual and be treated as just that and labeled as just that. Not labeled as on the down low, not labeled as gay and lesbian, but treated, received, and acknowledged as heterosexuality. As heterosexual, and we don't afford that same space to men.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the big kicker.
Get into it.
If Larry is honest enough to say, I've had a penis in my mouth before, I've had balls in my mouth before, I've had a penis in my rectum before.
Me too.
What in the hell do you think is keeping him from just saying I'm gay if he's gay? What at that point, what in the hell does a man have to lose? Like, what does he have to lose? What exactly is he holding on to? What exactly, like, the math ain't mathing. The man has been honest about being sexually abused, experimenting with his sexuality as a result, getting therapy, getting help, realigning to his true self, and then going on to be married for 13 years, having beautiful children, and continuing to date women thereafter. And it's clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really sad that the same community that want free homosexuals also creates a prison for them at the same time. The same community that wants everybody to be their authentic self and to live in the truth. And we need to know if you like trans women, and we need to know if you're bisexual, at the same time has a cage and a prison system in place.
Get into it.
For that same truth. And then want to complain about why people would rather deny, would rather reflect, would rather reject, and live under the radar. Make
sense. And they can't. And I also don't appreciate how I've seen queer people, whether it was a conscious or a subconscious thing, pushing a stereotype about queer people and essentially supporting their own oppression. I did not like that. I was like, y'all do know, like, y'all are indirectly pushing a narrative about queer people being predators to minors. Like, y'all do know that. And that was so irritating for me. Because when I tell you I wanted to go on that panel so bad, but the panel was just about to end by the time I got in there. And I knew they wasn't going to let me up. I was going to cause hell. And, you know, and you know, that's the gag of it all. Because it's like, people do that and then get mad when DL people exist. And that's why I'm being honest with you. And maybe I'm just real ruthless when it comes down to that. That's why I don't be giving a fuck when people be DL. No shade. I don't. I really do not be caring when people be DL, because my thing is, I'm not going to deal with the branches. I'm not dealing with the leaves. I'm going to start at the root. If you're mad about DL people, I'm so sorry. You can be mad all you want to. If that's the case, let's deal with the root of homophobia and transphobia. If you're mad about the coonery and stuff that's within the Black community and all these different things, I'm so sorry. I understand that frustration, but let's deal with with supremacy, pale supremacy. I'm going to deal with the root. No shade. Now, oh girl, let's get into this. I also didn't appreciate how, and this was another dog whistle too. Well, I felt like the conversation itself was a dog whistle. Since Larry is a pastor, or used to be a pastor, is he currently still a pastor? He's still a pastor?
Yes, he pastors a digital church right.
Okay,
right
so
and I
since
to
Larry,
before you say that, I wanted to just add this tidbit that damn it, I wanted to add this tidbit. It's totally slipping my DL is dangerous, and that's why people don't like it. No. Gosh, I just had it. You were saying we were talking about. Yeah, it was before that one. Well, it was actually, I had a thought, but it just slipped me. It just slipped it. Darn it. Yeah, I guess it'll come back to me.
Yeah, just stop thinking about it. It'll come right back up. Okay, so since I feel like this is a dog whistle within itself, because there is a historical.
Oh, I was gonna say. I'm sorry. What they did, even with like Larry's transparency, it's the same thing that the dominant society does in general when it comes to queer people. Because what always comes up, Reckless, when they get to pushing that gay agenda, urban legend, is if we normalize same gender loving, they're gonna want to normalize bestiality and and the edophilia next. They carry it in the same breath of one another, and you can even see it on a individualistic micro level, like the Larry Reid situation and his transparency around his openness and his exploration of his orientation in his earlier years.
Yep.
A mess. It's a mess.
It's the false equivalencies. It's like trying to compare things that are really not comparable at all. And the thing about it is that if on a surface level, if you're not thinking about those things, people just let it fly right by. But then you be like, hold up, that don't make no sense. You're literally comparing Forget apples to oranges. That's a pineapple to a mango. Like those are two different things. One guy spikes, the other one smooth as hell. Make it make sense. And it doesn't. So another thing too is that I felt like I think the optics of it all was also a dog whistle and a setup, because since Larry Reid is a pastor and the historical context, I felt like they really used that to their advantage. And okay, so this was something else that I had mentioned when it came down to Andrew Tate, where I said that when people have clout, people have notoriety, resources, people, especially if you're transparent or you have a certain reputation to your name, or you're transparent about your past or whatever, that allows and gives people the opportunity to modify and manufacture rumors, allegations, and lies to what you said, add the little spin on it, and then now you have the court of public opinion, aka the court of ain't no damn logic or critical thinking, believing something that's not even true. And I felt like since he's a pastor and we know the whole narrative of or the stories of priests, pastors, you know, and the history of, you know, the victimizing and all the other stuff, I felt like those odds was already against him. No shade. I felt like that played a part, and I felt like I already talked about the whole thing about the same gender loving and people trying to compare that to victimizing a child. Like, I really didn't like that. Now, I talked about this before, but I'm gonna mention it every single time because I want to make sure people pay attention to this stuff, because I want to start pulling y'all up on game. Now, I used to work in marketing. And when I used to work in sales and marketing, we learned a lot of things, and they always told us, and I'm just going to be brutally honest with you guys. And same thing with us content creators. This is the stuff that the general public is stupid. The general public is dumb. This is the stuff that we hear in the marketing realm and sales realm. General public is stupid. The customers are dumb. And that's basically what we get. So what I mean by that is that if you understand or you know certain manipulative tactics or persuasive ways, you're able to persuade somebody to do something, or persuade or convince someone to believe you on a narrative that isn't true. I say that to say this. In her lives, a few things that I've noticed with me working in sales and having to work on these skills day in, day out, because my money depended on it. I paid attention to the mannerisms. I paid attention to the way that she would set up her set. I paid attention to the colors that she will wear, or sometimes she may have on lipstick. All those things. I paid attention to both times that I can think of. The Cardi B video where she lost. She wore white. In the interview with Levante, she wore white. On a subconscious level, white represents innocence, purity, neutral, truth, etc. That's what white represents. So on a subconscious level, that's going to be in the back of your head, and it sends signals to your head, like throughout your brain. That's one. Two, in the Cardi B the Cardi B video, she would purposely look down. When you look down, it gives a sense of sorrow. It's very emotive in the way that you speak. I also noticed that the tonality in her voice. Now, that's a big thing when you come to marketing and sales. The tonality, the way that you speak. And also even with content creator, because I'm doing it right now. When you're loud, you sound more, or you're louder, you sound more confident. But yet, when you start to put the tone down like this, and I just feel like this and all that, it creates a different emotion. It pushes a different feeling. So I noticed that in both videos, her tonality was different. It was more reserved. It was on the softer side of things. It was trying to push the emotion in the videos. It was trying to it's trying to get an emotional response from the people that looked at the video. Now that was the approach. I don't know, was it successful? Because I see some of y'all talking about faking BS. Because girl, even I watched that video, I ain't really feel none of that shit. Maybe because I already knew she was full of shit anyway. I noticed all those things. And of course, like Conscious said earlier, the video what she had with Cardi B, my nose ring is going crazy. The video that she had with Cardi B, about Cardi B, where she had the ring light or the light at the top, and she would purposely look up, like she's looking into the heavens, and the light's just shining down. That's a manipulative tactic. And not only that, you user and you pay attention, y'all. Combination with the triggering language, dog whistles, black women, Larry Reid, what did he do to you? And sympathy and payola. And you also take into account the tonality in the voice is really soft. And then it's making you feel sad. And then you also add this into the mix. You look away, you look down, you kind of do something with your mouth a little bit. You have to pay attention to all that. This lady is full of shit, no shade. She is full of shit, no shade, y'all. And I need a lot of y'all to wake up. I don't care if I have to say this on every single video. I want you guys to pay attention. Pay attention to the body language. Like I said, she was doing something with the mouth, looking away, doing all this. But another thing too is something that Conscious has said before. And plus people said this even with her Star Marie video. The way she would set up her questions. Typically, if you ask a question or you're having an interview and you ask a question, you're going to ask a question to where the interviewee can answer the question and come to the conclusion by themselves. A lot of the times, I'm going to say most of the time, every single time, I think it's quite safe to say, when she has an interview, I'm going to say, especially when you can tell she's really, really going after somebody, she's setting up the question to kind of put them in the realm of where she wants them to go. So if I have for example, the whole Cardi B thing with Star Marie. So instead of asking the question of, so what happened to you? Like, so, what's going on, and kind of just make it an open-ended question and allow the interviewee to, lead where they want to go. She will literally say, so, what happened to you and Cardi B? Because, you were telling me offline that it's the leading. And this is what I mean. You have to pay attention to the bullshit. That lady is not to be trusted. And anybody that still support her, you're not to be trusted either. No shade.
I'm back.
Is that Conscious?
Oh, I had to take a call real quick, but did you ask me? Did you ask me something?
Oh no. I was going down a list of the manipulative tactics of everything she was doing. Because the thing I've noticed that she does in her interviews, as well, she sets up her questions. Like when you're asking a question, you would ask a question and kind of leave it open-ended so the person can tell you from their perspective. What she would do, she would set up the question so she can kind of get a certain answer. And I'm like, girl, you not to be trusted. No shade. Not to be trusted. Now, I just want to say this. I also want people to, once again, I'm going to keep saying this throughout this live, consider the source. You also have to think about Tasha K, who is a well-known documented lighter. And you also have to keep in mind of Bishop Whitehead, who is also the scamming, thieving, false prophet. Now, Neurotic K, this is also the person that got into it with Lovely T. And remember, she had the video where she knew, from her words now, she knew that the narrative about Cardi B was a lie, but yet she did it to trend the internet. That's what she said in her video on the internet. She knew it was a lie, but she did it to trend the internet. She got into it with Armand Wiggins. One of the claims that Armand Wiggins literally said is that she's jealous and she's always doing stuff out of jealousy and she's passive aggressive. Now I do understand Armand Wiggins is not the he's not an angel, but however, I do believe that he most definitely was right when it came down to that.
He's correct.
When it came down to that. Storm Monroe, she went after Storm Monroe. She made claims of Storm Monroe when they got into it. What were those claims exactly, Conscious?
About Storm Monroe?
Yeah.
That he did cocaine that he does not do. And Von Ray cleared that up. And when she told me, when she said to him on my platform, what if I told you that I have a recording of you telling me that Storm does coke? I'll email Conscious the receipts. And then Conscious got videos that had nothing to do with Von Ray saying that Storm did cocaine. And then the other was her trying to allude that Storm was on the pedo spectrum, which is also not true. Same thing she alluded to about Von Ray, who she claimed essayed Kelsey, which turned out to be not true.
Did the exact same thing to Storm, did the exact same thing to Von Ray. When it came down to Malibu Dollface, when they were going back and forth on the Lions of Judas, and that live is still up, it's a long live, where it was her, Lovely T, and some other people, they got into it, and Malibu Dollface called her a bitch. She tried to spin the narrative and tried to make people believe that Malibu Dollface called her a black bitch. Once again,
it's just the easy, it's just the like, it's just the lying, like, it's just because you just gonna really just make it up, girl. You just don't make it up, girl. You just gonna add and decorate it, like, and take it to the next. You gonna round it off to the highest number, girl, and just carry on. Really? Wow.
Yeah,
I just came out with her.
That she said called her a black bitch, and once again, that's a dog whistle. It's gonna get people triggered up. And oh no, why would you? And because you already know, and plus you know he's a feminine man as well too, and you already know that's going to trigger up the homophobic women, black women, that's gonna say you're trying to be us and you hate us. You are like, and this thing gotta pay attention to.
And you still like, man.
You already know. And that's exactly what people's trying to do. Now, when it came down to Larry Reid, she's saying that he violated some people. What a coincidence. The same allegation that she tried to put on Von Ray and Storm Monroe, I want to say. Oh, what a coincidence. It's a pattern of behavior. At least if you're going to try to come up with rumors, be more creative. Now, when it comes down to Consciouztv, she said you was an escort or something like that, or a trick.
She said I was tricked. She said I'm Larry's trick. I guess I guess I'm successfully treating him. And yeah, and I'm the boyfriend with the wig. The boyfriend with the wig and the trick.
The wig. Once again, you can't talk about anybody trying to have a wig because baby, you are alopecia around the skull. Now when it came down to Cardi B, you said she had STDs.
Had a lot of things. That she was a prostitute. She had STIs. That her coochie cat could fit a whole shelf of liquor inside of it. I mean, the list went on and on and on, girl.
So once again, consider the source. You can't talk about somebody being a crackhead when you're an alcoholic, and I'm talking about figuratively, not your brand. Now, let's get into the scamming, thieving, false prophet. This also the same person that had a false robbery, and to where he could just about make insurance claims allegedly. This also the same man that has that's convicted. I want to say, is he a convicted felon? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, he's a convicted felon. Did 5 years for identity theft.
There we go. So he's a convicted felon, and he has been locked up and convicted of identity theft. What a coincidence! Someone lying about somebody else's identity. What a coincidence! On top of that, you have cases of you extorting people for money. Let's not forget you attacked a member or congregation member within your very own church, and I'm not going to say allegedly because we've seen it on camera. And then not only that, you lied to the FBI agents.
Oh, and no. Don't forget the best one yet. Reckless.
Let's get into it.
Defended Tekashi 6ix9ine in court, who pled guilty to making explicit videos with a 13-year-old girl. Tekashi went on to later thank him in a song for standing up.
Yes. Let's not forget that. And that I like that you did that because that most definitely leads me to my next one. I'm about to say birds of a feather flock together. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. I also, once again, I pay attention to the things that Logicc K does. Says, but I also pay attention to what she does. And what she did, she linked up with a female rapper by the name of Onika Mirage that has a husband who has a sketchy past. Now, the reason why that sticks out to me,
and who she initially dragged, but then once got in Onika's face, kissed her ass.
And we can see a pattern of behavior. Because isn't that the same thing she did with Bishop?
Dragged him initially, and soon as he paid her some attention and she needed a new residential pastor.
But it was something else I wanted to point out too as well, is that I think it's very interesting because I think it's also another pattern of behavior, because if you think about it, it's kind of similar to the situation with Larry Reid, is because if you actually quote unquote know certain information about somebody, but yet they're beneficial to you, you're just gonna lie down and kiss the ring, or when you get into it, or you don't find use of them anymore, all of a sudden you're gonna go after them. So from now on, please, nobody ever get in our face and try to tell us about Miss Logicc K and the false prophet and think that these are credible witnesses or credible people,
advocates,
to actually try to bring forth truth.
Consider advocates, even advocates,
or
what type of advocate, especially ones who is an advocate because they have allegedly experienced SA, but then weaponizes SA in situations to be petty, like she did with Armand. Not Armand, like she did with Storm, like she did with Von Ray.
Get into it.
Also, what type of woman of her platform? Because even when me and Tasha was cool, I still spoke out against her ass. Like when she made those comments about Bobby Lights having dirty blood. You can't. Why would you use your platform that way to put out misinformation and to further stigmatize people living with HIV? And then she went on to do the same thing to Larry, stigmatized him, even though he's HIV negative, but yet is weaponizing HIV stigma. I mean, it's just, and this is what I'm just like, is this what happens when you haven't went to the drag a hole to everlasting life university and got your master's? Because when you haven't graduated from drag a hole university, you just have to stick to the most lowbrow insults in order to try to one up somebody instead of being capable of reading, gagging, and roasting. Unhinged can't drag for her life. That's why she resorts to low vibrational insults. And there's only a handful of them, which is why she's a repeat offender. Because there ain't nothing but a few extremes of them. Stigmatize them with an STI, like she did in Cardi B's case, or Bobby Lights in Larry Reid's case. I'm going to use HIV or HERP. And then I'm going to use a pedo. Those are her three go-tos. She ain't got nothing else. Because it's short. The extreme insults are short-lived. And that's why they show up on almost all of her victims.
Yeah. All the same. All the same. So that's really all I had to say. Because, girl, that's all I had to say on it.
Almost at the 2-hour mark.
And you know what's crazy, too? Is that I remember, and you remember because we had this conversation. And plus, I think I said this before, but I'm going to say it here again. Is that I had this rule of thumb. I'm like, yo, I'm not going to talk about YouTubers. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm only going to stick to celebrities. I'm not going to talk about YouTubers. But then this situation, well, a couple of situations happened. And then I saw this situation happen, and I had like a close up front row seat because I'm connected to you, so I had a front row seat of all of this stuff, and I started going to different lives and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna have to start talking about YouTubers because I can't trust a lot of you hoes with having conversations. To be completely honest, a lot of people shouldn't even, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. A lot of people probably shouldn't be commentators. Keep your opinion to yourself, because a lot of times, a lot of people, they don't do those conversations any justice. Not because they're just ignorant or you know, they're just, you know, they don't really just know it or anything like that. It's not just strictly just that. It's the fact that you're ignorant on situations or understanding serious conversations, but then you enter those conversations like you know it all. And like I said in the previous live, all of your comments, instead of those comments having a question mark at the end, they always have a period and they always have an exclamation mark. That's not how you do that. If you're not educated on said subject, or once you find out you may not have all the facts, you need to have a whole bunch of question marks on your comments. And that's just no shade. That's all I have to say about it. So, yeah, that is it, y'all.
I love to lay it out, girl, line by line, precept by precept, verse by verse. There it is.
Well, all I got to say, wait, let me make sure, because girl, I gotta be better. Let me make sure I shout out all my, come on, Cash Apples. I gotta make sure I shout you guys out. All righty, thank you, girl. Now keep in mind, y'all, I be trying to tell y'all, can y'all put y'all nickname in the notes, because I'll be trying not to say y'all real name, but I'm gonna try to. Okay, thank you, Morgan. Thank you for very much. Thank you, Gray. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Norwood. I really do appreciate all of you guys your contribution. Now, I know for a fact someone else gave a contribution through Super Chat right here. Thank you, Christina. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so very much. I really do appreciate your contributions. Now, keep in mind, y'all, everything that you guys give most definitely go back into this channel. Okay?
It's somebody else that you're forgetting.
Who?
As well.
Thank you, Conscious. I appreciate you for becoming a member.
Nuh-uh. It's somebody else that you forgot to thank on Cash App.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you, Conscious. I appreciate it so much. Yes, ma'am. Oh, nasty piece. I appreciate it, because I most definitely needed that. See how retrograde is most definitely helping a bitch out. Thank you. Okay.
She lifting, honey. That's what it is. All that bad juju off. Right. Bitch free. Bitch out of prison, girl.
But also too, I made an executive decision to talk about YouTubers now, because I've looked around the YouTube space, and I feel like, I personally feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel like a lot of people don't do the conversations any justice. And so I felt like this is what's making me step into that realm. So we're going to get into these YouTube stuff, and we're going to handle this stuff with diligence and tap the real conversations. Let's get into it. But that is it for my video for today, guys. Please make sure you guys pop that like button. Please thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. It really does help out with YouTube's algorithm. Please, once again, y'all, once we do our job in here, YouTube can finally do their job out there. Okay. When they do their job out there, new people can come up in here. Okay. And then once once they get up in here, I'll try to use my personality, and then they're gonna be stuck here. And then they go subscribe. And please make sure, guys, I want you guys to really appreciate all of you guys' help. Thank you guys for all the new channel members. Thank you guys for all my current channel members. I'm gonna be doing like switching around the channel features and stuff, as in I'm gonna make it lower and stuff, probably make it just one channel thing. Channel membership and stuff, because I know I was looking at it, I was like, girl.
Yeah, you know what though? You might put your commentary about like
YouTubers and stuff
behind your paywall.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, I had some ideas about some things, but Because girl, I'm gonna be off the wall with that shit. And plus, I already know how motherfuckers gonna be. They're gonna be trying to record shit and then turn it back. At least pay for it if you're gonna do all that.
That part.
No shade. But yes, but thank you guys so very much. Please make sure you guys hit the join button. Check out all the channel memberships because baby, I got some things coming up. I do have a panel that's coming up on the 27th. That's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be about Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, but I'm also thinking about adding. The Jaguar Wright, Tasha K and Larry Reid situation to the panel as well because I think I noticed some similarities between all of those situations. So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna add some new faces to this channel that people have never seen ever. So
girl, hold on, wait a minute. Can you believe that Flacco just asked is Logicc gay? Bless Flacco.
I wasn't even looking.
Bless Flacco's heart, babe.
What he say?
Because if you don't scream gay, nobody does, baby. Okay.
You don't see this bent in this wrist?
Hold on, girl. Why I heard somebody said that why I heard somebody said that the broken wrist of a gay man is actually hereditary, girl. But they said that it's actually science to back up, girl, that the broken wrist is actually hereditary. Girl. I gotta get into the gay science, girl. I'm missing a lot, apparently, girl, out there on academic streets.
Gary, they're gonna be over there. It's hereditary, girl. That is a key. I'm not gonna lie, like some of the reads they do give to the gays, bitch, that should be funny.
No, but this motherfucker was dead serious, honey. Like, she was for real good. I gotta catch up. Yeah, I gotta catch up, honey. I gotta get into that big wrist bag, girl.
Oh, but thank you, Nixon, for your Cash App contribution. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Come on, Gayology 101s. Yeah, 101. I know that's right, Mary. But I do want to end this live right now because I'm trying to make it under 2 hours so YouTube can help this bad boy. But I really appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Thank you guys so very much. And I'm going to see you guys later. And y'all make sure you guys take care. All righty. Deuces.